Thank you very much, everyone. Our country is in the midst of a great national trial, unlike any we have ever faced before. You all see it. You see it probably better than most. We're at war with a deadly virus. Success in this fight will require the full, absolute measure of our collective strength, love, and devotion. Very important. Each of us has the power, through our own choices and actions, to save American lives and rescue the most vulnerable among us. That's why we really have to do what we all know is right. Every citizen is being called upon to make sacrifices. Every business is being asked to fulfill its patriotic duty. Every community is making fundamental changes to how we live, work, and interact each and every day. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this going on long into the future when this virus is gone and defeated. Some of the things we're doing now will be very good practice for the future, including for not getting the flu, which is very devastating also. So some of what we're learning now will live on into the future. I really believe that. Shaking hands or not shaking hands, washing hands all the time, staying a little apart. 15 days ago, we published our nationwide guidelines to slow the spread of the virus. On Sunday, I announced that this campaign will be extended until April 30th. In a few moments, Dr. Burks will explain the data that formed the basis for our decision to extend the guidelines, and Dr. Fauci will explain why it's absolutely critical for the American people to follow the guidelines for the next 30 days. It's a matter of life and death, frankly. It's a matter of life and death. I know our citizens will rise to the occasion, and they already have sacrificed a lot. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had the greatest economy in the world. We had the best unemployment numbers and employment numbers that we've ever had by far. And in one instant, we said, we have no choice but to close it up. Just as Americans have always done, they will do a job like few have seen before, and they're proud to do it, and I see that. There's a great pride going on right now. Before we hear from our experts, we have a few other announcements today. The Treasury Department and Small Business Administration announced further details on the Paycheck Protection Program, which was made possible by the $2 trillion relief bill I signed into law last week. Nearly $350 billion in loans will soon be available through lending partners to help small businesses meet payroll and other expenses for up to 2 months. These loans will be forgiven as long as businesses keep paying their workers. This includes sole proprietors and independent contractors. Applications will be accepted starting this Friday, April 3rd. So on Friday, April 3rd, that's when it begins. Earlier today, I spoke with leading internet and phone providers who are doing a tremendous job of keeping our internet and lines of communication flowing under very strongly increased strain. The business is more than anybody's seen before because everyone's inside. They're all making calls. Among the leaders I spoke to were Hans Vestberg of Verizon Communications, Randall Stevenson of AT&T, Mike Sievert of T-Mobile, Thomas Rutledge of Charter Communications, Brian Roberts of Comcast, John Malone of Liberty Media, Dexter Goy of Altice, Michael Combs of Sprint, and Araya Borkoff of LionTree. Also, Pat Esser of Cox Communications and Jeffrey Story of CenturyLink. They're doing an incredible job. If you look at other continents, if you look at Europe, they went a different route than we did, and a much different route. We were talking about that just a little while ago. And they're having tremendous problems. Other countries are having problems. Other continents are having problems. But with business at a level that nobody's seen it before, on the internet, it's holding up incredibly well. And they expect that to continue no matter what happened. And no matter how much more it gains, which if it can gain more than it already is, I don't know, because they're setting records. Let me also update you on the distribution of urgently needed resources and supplies. And we have a lot of numbers. I'm going to let Mike Pence speak to that in a little while. But we're giving massive amounts of medical equipment and supplies to the 50 states. We also are holding back quite a bit. We have almost 10,000 ventilators that we have ready to go. We have to hold them back because the surge is coming, and it's coming pretty strong. And we want to be able to immediately move it into place without going and taking it. So we're ready to go, and we've also distributed. I just spoke with Governor of Michigan, had a great conversation, and we sent a large number of ventilators to Michigan. We're sending them to Louisiana. We sent additional ventilators to New York, additional ventilators to New Jersey. And I will say in New York, FEMA is supplying 250 ambulances and 500 EMTs to help respond to the increasing caseload. That's a lot of ambulances. In California, the Army Corps of Engineers is developing 8 facilities to expand hospital capacity up to 50,000 beds, 50,000. And had a great conversation last night with Gavin Newsom. He's doing a really good job. We're in constant communications. The USNS Mercy hospital ship is now operational. It's in Los Angeles and receiving patients. And in New York, as you know, the Comfort, everybody watched that. It's in place and will be in a very short while receiving large numbers of patients, over 1,000 rooms and 12 operating rooms. FEMA has also provided 100 travel trailers to assist with housing needs, and we're ordering hundreds more. In Michigan, FEMA will soon deliver, in addition to the ventilators, 250-bed field hospital, and Army Corps of Engineers is evaluating locations to build alternate care facilities. So we're doing a field hospital in Michigan of 250 beds, and we may be doubling it up soon, depending on the need. They're doing a good job with beds in Michigan, but they may need more than the 250. So FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers are prepared to go there quickly and get it done. In Louisiana, we're delivering 2 field hospitals to provide 500 new hospital beds. I've been talking with the governor, John Bell Edwards, and the Army Corps of Engineers has been really doing incredible work, establishing 3,000-bed alternate care site at the New Orleans Convention Center, which will be operational, believe it or not, this week. So we're doing a 3,000-bed alternate care site, and we're also doing a 500-bed new hospital. And that's in Louisiana, which really got hit. It started off very late, and it was looking good, and then all of a sudden it just reared up, came from nowhere. In addition to the supplies we're delivering, we're also giving hospitals the flexibility to use new facilities, including surgical care centers, to care for hospital patients who are not infected. For example, I know that many expectant mothers are understandably concerned about exposing their newborn babies to the virus, and they should be. With our action yesterday, hospitals now have the authority to create special areas for mothers to deliver their babies in a very safe and healthy environment, totally separate. Over the past 2 months, the U.S. State Department has organized one of the largest and most complex international evacuation operations in American history. Mike Pompeo has been working round the clock, along with Ambassador O'Brien. Since January 29th, we have successfully repatriated over 25,000 Americans from more than 50 countries. where they were literally stuck, in some cases locked in. And I salute the incredible public servants at the Department of State as well as their counterparts at DHS and HHS who have played such an important role in doing this. You probably read about the young people in Peru and young people in Brazil, and they were absolutely stuck, and we got them out, got them. Almost everybody is out now, back home with their parents, their wives, their husbands. I want every American to be prepared for the hard days that lie ahead. We're going to go through a very tough 2 weeks. And then hopefully, as the experts are predicting, as I think a lot of us are predicting after having studied it so hard, you're going to start seeing some real light at the end of the tunnel. But this is going to be a very painful, very, very painful 2 weeks. When you look and see at night the kind of death that's been caused by this invisible enemy, it's incredible. I was watching last night Governor Murphy of New Jersey say 29 people died today, meaning yesterday, and others talking about numbers far greater. But you get to know a state. I know New Jersey so well, and you hear 29 people, and hundreds in other locations, hundreds in other states. And this is going to be a rough 2-week period. As a nation, we face a difficult few weeks as we approach that really important day when we're going to see things get better all of a sudden. And it's going to be like a burst of light, I really think, and I hope. Our strength will be tested and our endurance will be tried. But America will answer with love and courage and ironclad resolve. This is the time for all Americans to come together and do our part. I appreciate a lot of the media. We've had a lot of really good things said. I think only good things can be said when you look at the job that's been done. I just spoke with Franklin Graham, who's an extraordinary person. And Samaritan's Purse has been, like so many others, just been amazing and so fast. They did it so fast. He's been doing that for a long time, but I think people are really seeing what they have done. Franklin Graham, very special family. As we send plane loads of masks and gloves and supplies to the communities battling the plague, and that's what it is. This is a plague. We also send our prayers. We pray for the doctors and the nurses, for the paramedics and the truck drivers and the police officers and the sanitation workers, and above all, the people fighting for their lives in New York and all across our land. I watched as doctors and nurses went into a certain hospital in Elmhurst this morning. I know Elmhurst, Queens. I grew up right next to it. I know the hospital very well. Been seeing it all my life, my young life. And I will tell you that to see the scenes of trailers out there and what they're doing with those trailers, they're freezers, and nobody can even believe it. And I spoke to some of my friends. They can't believe what they're seeing. And I watched the doctors and the nurses walking into that hospital this morning. It's like military people going into battle, going into war. The bravery is incredible, and I just have to take my hat. I would take my hat. If I were wearing a hat, I'd rip that hat off so fast, and I would say, you people are just incredible. They really are. They're very brave. They're going in, and they don't know. You have lots of things flying around in the air. You don't know what you're touching. Is it safe? And you also see where you have friends that go into the hospital and you say, how is he doing 2 days later? And they say, sir, he's unconscious or he's in a coma. So things are happening that we've never seen before in this country. And with all of that being said, the country's come together like I've never seen it before. And we will prevail, we will win, and hopefully it will be in a relatively short period of time. with that, I'd like to ask Dr. Burks to come up and show you some of the latest, just the data that has been, I think, brilliantly put together. And right after that, I'm going to ask Dr. Fauci to speak. And Mike Pence is going to give you some of the recent events that have taken place and some of the statistics that we have that I think will be very interesting here. Thank you very much. Please, Dr.